Good afternoon, and I welcome you all to this time and place made sacred by our collective presence and intention. Today we are gathered to celebrate the life of Jack Arnold Taylor with joy and in gratitude, with sadness and in grief. It is our tradition in Unitarian Universalism to mark our sacred time through the lighting of a chalice and words of invocation. We light this flame as our fervent plea to brighten the dark corners of our hearts. We hold this flame, for in it is the promise of warmth for souls grown cold in loss and despair. We kindle this light that we might continue to find comfort in its warmth, strength in its light, holiness in its presence. We follow this light that it might illuminate our search for purpose, for meaning, and forgiveness. We light this chalice knowing even as this sacred spark of life is extinguished, in the ensuing darkness, its light, Jack's light, will still burn bright with memory and hope. We light this flame of life, of love and truth for the divine promise of healing hearts. Now I will light our memorial candle, which represents the light Jack brought to this fellowship and to the lives of so many. May this flame remind us of both our gratitude for his life and the transience of life. May we all live the rest of our days knowing life's preciousness. In this time together, may we remember Jack. May we find strength in our faith and in each other, and may we be reverent witnesses to the life he led. I first really got to know Jack when he took a class I offered. It was called Owning Your Religious Past. And it was funny because most people who take the class have had lots of difficulties with their religious upbringing for many, many different reasons. Now, in this class, Jack was the exception. He loved his childhood church, and from what he shared, I think what he loved most about it was the small town community and togetherness it provided. And I imagine it was Jack's love of community and togetherness that brought him to this fellowship. He had been widowed for about 2 years, and he had some health challenges, although they were really not very evident by seeing him and talking to him. I have the feeling that he wanted to seize the remaining life that he had, and that meant being with people. He was gregarious, really enjoying the company of others. And he loved what he referred to as breaking bread with others, meaning that good company was even better when there was food involved. Jack, as a tall, imposing figure with a booming voice, a Navy man, he always surprised me a little when he showed his true complexity and a sensitive side that could be very unexpected. I was absolutely blown away when he shared that he campaigned for Bernie Sanders. I didn't see that coming, but it was so cool. When I went to see Jack at the hospital, he grasped my hand and held it. And it was kind of an unexpected gesture from a man who could have easily played the tough guy. But that wasn't Jack. He took that moment to share one of his nuggets of wisdom with me. I'm sure many of you have received his nuggets as well. He told me that there is nothing as powerful as the human touch. I was so glad and so honored to give him my hand. Earlier here at the fellowship, when Jack shared his life and career story with me, I was amazed at all the things he accomplished, how much he understood about working with people and motivating them, and most importantly, how much he loved his children and his family, and how much he was moved when simply talking about how he felt about them. Jack was such a big presence, and it is so hard to believe that he is no longer with us. But I am so grateful I got to know him and spend time with him, that even though it was relatively brief, I will indeed miss him, as many others will. As a tribute to Jack's childhood religion, let us say together the Lord's Prayer as you care to do so. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Now we have a few eulogists. I saw Elizabeth came back. Would you like to speak? Okay, well, we have Michelle set to go first, and then we'll have Veronica, and then we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Michelle.
Hello, everybody. Is that too loud? Hi. Thank you all for coming out. I really don't know what to say about my dad because I'm not used to just talking about him in general because most people knew him. Everybody knew him. The biggest thing I can say is he gave me strength or I wouldn't be up here right now. That was, he raised me to be strong. I gave him a cup one year for Father's Day that said, "Thank you for being the son, even though I'm your daughter. Thank you for raising me to be your son, even though I'm your daughter." He got a kick out of that because he taught me from an early age to swing a hammer, to fix a toilet, to do whatever it took. He said, you know, sometimes you can't rely on people. Sometimes you need to know how to do it yourself. And he knew how to do everything. There was nothing that man couldn't do. If he didn't know how to do it, he read a book. And the books he has all over his house. They are everywhere. And he's already given me a bunch of them. So he read books, he read on the internet, he read everything, researched, and most of it was facts, all facts in the government. And he was really into the government. And this growing up in the Navy was kind of rough. We moved every year, but I think that helped toughen me up too, toughen us kids up. And he also raised, there were 4 of us growing up, and I had 2 brothers that I did not know were my half-brothers, 2 older brothers. This is how good of a father he was. When my parents divorced when I was 11 years old, it was time for us to go for the summer or whatever time to go with my dad. And I cried because my 2 older brothers couldn't come, and I didn't understand why, but that wasn't his children. I did not know that. He never adopted them, but they always called him Dad. I never would have known the difference. Nobody knew the difference. I never thought about their name or anything, but that was his children, and he bawled. He laid his head on the hood of the car and just, because he couldn't have them. And he also raised another some other girls afterwards, years later, that still to this day, I speak with them, communicate with them, that still love them. So that tells you anything about, there's a lot of horror stories about step-parents, but that right there ought to be a testation to his spirit. And yeah, we had a few tough times, like every parent and child does, but he let me know how he felt about it, that's for sure. There was no guessing at all. If he didn't like something, he let me know for a fact. But he also let me have my opinion, and that's what I liked about him. He was very adamant about me having my own mind, because I grew up with my mom belonging to the Worldwide Church of God, and he went to that church. Sundown Friday, we had, it was our Sabbath, and he participated also. So we had Sabbath until sundown Saturday. We went to church on Saturday. Then come Sunday morning, we got up and we went to Southern Baptist Church with my mom. So I told him one year, I said, I know we don't talk about religion or politics. I said, but what was up with that? Why did we grow up like that? And he said, okay, that's fair. And he said, I don't know why you're not so messed up right now. It's not funny. So maybe I am. I don't, we just don't know it. But I do remember him singing hymns to me in the car. We'd take long trips. We'd go to Texas. He loved to travel, and he traveled with us kids. We have so many memories and photographs of everywhere we lived, him taking us places. So he was a great man, and even up right till the end, he was traveling. He wanted to drive that RV that he had. I don't know if everybody knows about it, but he had an RV that he climbed up on top of, and still was trying to repair and get it ready to go somewhere. And he was laying on top of it one day, and a neighbor across the street come running across the street, thought he had passed out on it, seeing if he was okay, and no, he was just fixing the roof on top of it. He's like, I'm fine, and he's 80 years old climbing on top of the RV roof, Winnebago. So, like I said, he was ready, but then in the hospital, he decided to sell it, and I said, okay, well, this is your train or your plane money. No more RV, please. I asked him, please, no more of that, and he said, okay. He agreed. I said, I'll drive you wherever you want to go, and he agreed to that. So a little bit, he got a little bit more agreeable, because we thought 2 times he was coming home. He was ready to come home the very next day, 2 times, and he went back to ICU 3 times. So we had plans. We had lots of plans to continue to do, but sometimes that's just life hands you. He would always tell me, life hands you lemons, you just make your lemonade. And I'd always tell him, I don't like lemonade, and he loved lemonade. He said, well, you're going to learn to like it. You better learn to like it. Does that not sound like Papa? Exactly, that's what he would say. You better learn to like it. Still don't like it, but I still make lemonade. I don't like it. The kids will drink it. Okay. And that's about all I can say about him right now. All I can think of. All sorts. I could talk all day about him, tell different stories, but. Veronica, you want to come say something? This is my sister, Veronica.
My mom was married to Jack. That was her second marriage, and so I didn't know him growing up, really. When I got older, I came and visited Michelle, and we got to hang out a few times. But my mom always told me stories. My sister was born in Hawaii, and the places that they went, the things they got to do, she was very social and active and into a lot of stuff that I didn't see her as a kid, but hearing all these stories, I know it was because of this man. He opened her eyes to a lot of things that most people would have never been able to experience. He taught her a whole lot. But I think the thing I admired the most was I didn't have my dad growing up. I just had my mom. But to see that he was always there for my sister, was really confident in her and loved her so much. But he loved his whole family. He loved all of the people that were in his life. He was very social. I did gather that. Never had a dull moment. I think I appreciate that he taught her how to be so strong, because I got some of that. I got to see it, and it trickled down, and she taught me a lot that he instilled in her. I know he had a lot of jokes. He laughed all the time. He was always smiling whenever I was around him. He had a good heart, good family and community that supported him. And you only get that because you do right by others. You don't take advantage or cause harm. And I think he always had the best intentions for everyone. But like Ronnie was telling me, you knew right away where you stood with him, if he liked you or he didn't. He was very clear about it. I hope he has peace wherever he is now, and maybe he can reconnect with my mom and they could share some stories. And Joyce, that would be nice. If anyone else wants to share stories about him, speak anything.
Oh, are you gonna come? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say hi. Say hi, everyone. So I'm Liz, and I am Michelle's daughter-in-law, married to JR. This is our youngest, by the way. This is Asen. JR and I have been together for 11 years, and I think we were only together 6 months or so when I met Jack, and we instantly bonded over Bernie Sanders. He was very surprised that I was supported. I was very surprised he was too. And I remember him telling me that he campaigned for him and he was going to send me a shirt. And I just kind of figured it would be one of those things that he would forget about, you know? Like people say, oh yeah, I'll get you one, and then you never see it. Oh, about 3 days later, it came in the mailbox. But he was very full of life. And I know that my husband spent a great deal of his childhood with him. Michelle and JR's father split up when he was very young. So when he was with Michelle, the prominent male figure in his life when he was young was Jack. And I don't think I really realized that until the last couple of days, how much of an influence his character had on my husband's. And I'm very thankful for that, because I think it instilled in him, everyone, a confidence. One of the things that I fell in love with Jared for was how comfortable he seemed in who he was. Not cocky or arrogant, just, this is who I am. And I'm not going to change it for anyone. You're going to like me or you're not going to like me. This is just who I am. And I found that very comforting and admirable. So I'm really, really grateful that Jack passed that on to my husband, because I think it's something that our kids will also get some of. I hope that they grow up to be as comfortable in their own skin as JR is, thanks to Jack. You want to go get Poppy? But, oh goodness. We didn't spend a great deal of time together, but I loved how that confidence that he had, that comfort, it spilled over. It made everyone comfortable. It made conversation easy. He was the easiest person to talk to, even if you didn't know him well, because just that aura he had, that energy that he gave off, he made you feel like, yeah, let's just sit down and have a chat. Like, I'm trying not to get too emotional. I'm just really grateful that I got to know him, and that he was very accepting of me. Like, a lot of people talk about struggles with in-laws, and that man's definitely at my top favorite in-law list. I will really miss him.
We will now proceed with the photo show. When a good person passes away, their family and friends gather together for many reasons. Among those reasons is the impulse to tell stories, reminding ourselves and others of all that was true and good in their life. And so I invite those who would care to do so to come forward to the microphone over here and share briefly a memory of Jack that you especially cherish. I will invite family members to go first, followed by everyone else.
Hi everyone, I'm JR. Mom, I can't remember, is Charles older than me or am I older than Charles? I'm older, so I'm Jack's oldest grandson. Yeah. My cousin Charles, he's not able to be here with us today, but I remember growing up when I was a small child. I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. I call him Papa Jack every day. My little brother Brady, he was with. We learned so much from this man. I'm sorry if y'all can't hear me, it's hard for me to speak. But I know every time I spent with my grandfather, he made it about me and my brother. He'd take us to do whatever we wanted. A lot of times it was the movies. He took us to the movies so many times, and we had great experiences. My only regret is not spending more time with him when I was an adult. I know time gets away from us the older we get. But my papa was probably one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life, and I'm definitely I'm gonna miss it.
All right, anyone else like to speak?
I'll never forget. I barely met Jack, and he came up to me at the movies on a Thursday night. And he looked down at me in his big voice and he said, "I like you." Oh, that's nice. Did he mean it? Oh, he did.
He meant it. He meant it, she said.
Hi, everyone. My name is Al Klein, and I'm a co-host of the movie night here every Thursday night. And it's a night that we show eclectic movies, classics, comedies, foreign films, and Jack was an integral part of movie night. He would show up just about every Thursday night and bringing this huge bag of popcorn. It was like the biggest bag of popcorn I've ever seen in my life. And it was like movie night could officially begin once you see Jack coming through that door with a bag of popcorn. And he loved the movies. And he'd always tell me at the end, you know, it's a good job, Al, I like that movie. And then if he didn't say anything, I knew that, oh, that movie didn't fly with Jack. So, but everyone at the movie theater, at the movie group, will certainly miss Jack. He was well loved. Thank you.
I
think Jack was one of the main reasons I went to movie night. Because he was there, and I got to know him, and just how incredible he was. And how much I'll miss him. It's a big part of my life. Sounds kind of goofy, just on Thursday nights, but he had such an influence on me. I better be there on time. I better be ready, and eat lots of popcorn. So, but we did get a little wine in there once in a while. Just, I know he was of age, so we could do that. But it just, Jack motivated me a lot of ways in my life. And I know the last couple times I saw him, he wasn't feeling that well. And I left that night feeling very sad. But just think of all we have to value knowing Jack, those wonderful memories. He was an incredible person. Thanks for sharing him with us.
And if it's easier, I can bring the mic to you. If you'd like me to do that, just raise your hand. With tears and laughter, we have dipped into the deep well of love and memory. May these memories shared, as well as those unspoken, nourish you and hold you this day and always. When thinking about Jack, his tall stature and his commanding presence, his big voice, I could not help but think of this poem that I'd like to share with you. It's called When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. And the metaphor of the great tree, I believe, is quite fitting for Jack. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses. And even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored but never to be the same, whisper to us, They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. As our service draws to a close, I invite you to join me in a responsive reading. I will say a phrase, and I ask that after each line, you respond along with me. The words are simple. They are, "We remember him." At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we remember him. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember him. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember him. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember him. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember him. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember him. As long as we live, he too will live, for he is now a part of us, as we remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember him. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember him. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember him. When we have achievements that are based on him, we remember him. As long as we live, he too will live, for he is now a part of us as we remember him. Today, we have come to share the loss we have felt in Jack's passing and some examples of the joy we carry from his life. But let us acknowledge that we cannot extinguish the love he showed us, or his memory, or that love of his we carry forward. So many lives have absorbed so much light from Jack. We must continue to reflect that light into the lives of all we encounter. May we always be able to see that light as it is reflected in all we do. And we must smile, knowing that Jack's light is shining from all of us too, never to be extinguished. Dear ones, go in peace.